Hello friends and welcome back to the RaoMoon Oracle. Today we are continuing our little mini series, Spirit Advice, Animal Kingdom Edition with Chapter 2. So we've got a new fresh round of 12 different animals for you to choose from today. So again, we'll have it face down to start with, so you can just go purely based off intuition to figure out which animal you want to connect with, or you can continue on a little bit further into the video and then see the animals revealed and connect with the animal spirit energy that way. This is quick animal advice, so they're going to be about 5 minutes a piece again per reading, so you can just kind of see what that animal is. Maybe you dig further into it, do a little bit more research after you connect with that animal in the reading today. Feel free to go back to the previous one if you are looking at just more animals as a whole. Eventually this will be completely built out for the whole Animal Kingdom series, and then you'll be able to look at multiple animals and see what you connect to on a given day. Might just be the advice for the day, the week, the month, or the year. That's going to be up to you and your intuition. So let us hop over now to the group so you can start picking up on animal energy and connecting today. See you there. Hello and welcome to the pick a card section of this reading. So we've got our 12 cards in front of us representing 12 different animals here for chapter 2 of our Spirit Advice Animal Kingdom edition. So we'll start with the top row over here. So this is going to be group number 1, group number 2, 3, 4, then moving down a row, row 2. This is number 5, group 5, group 6, group 7, group 8, and then final row at the bottom, group 9, 10, 11, and 12. The numbers will be up on the screen here shortly, so that way you can still connect with whatever group number you might be feeling. Maybe there's a card that's catching your eye here. So whatever it is, you can connect with that animal and proceed to your groups at that point. Your timestamps will be in the description box below. So you can just use purely your intuition right now and connect with the group that way, or you can hang around and then see what animals are underneath each of these cards and connect with the animal and then proceed to your advice at that point. So pause the video if you need to, but we'll continue on now with the reveal portion of our animal spirit animal guide energy. Okay, here is the revealed portion of our animal spirit energy today. So lots of fire. There's a lot of root chakra energy in this chapter for sure, with all this red kind of orangey coloring coming through. A few oddballs here and there, but we've got 4 fire cards. We've got let's see, 2 air cards, 3 earth cards, and 3 water cards. So a little bit more strong in the fire energy today. So row number 1 up here, group number 1 is the tiger, group number 2 is the bat, group number 3 is the panther, and group number 4 is the oyster. Going down a row here for row 2, group number 5 is the wolf. Not my favorite wolf picture. That's my favorite animal, but besides the point. So group number 5 is the wolf. Group number 6 is the tarantula. I apologize to that group when that picture shows up for your group screen. I didn't have fun looking for tarantula pictures. Group number 7 is the lizard. And group number 8 is the rabbit. And our final row down here, group number 9 is the elk. Group number 10 is the starfish. Group number 11 is the nightingale. And group number 12 is the turtle. So pause the video if you need to, take whatever time, connect with whatever animal you're feeling called to today, and then when you're ready, join me in your group and you'll get your animal spirit advice, okay? I'll see you there. Bye. Hello, group number 1, my tiger group. Okay, so tiger is a very powerful creature for sure. So much strength in there. You look at the tiger and it's like pretty much just like all muscle everywhere, it looks like. Tigers are very, very good swimmers. You'll often see them in the water, so they are very connected in terms of spirituality, in terms of spiritual advice. The tiger spirit is very connected to emotions, that water energy, that flow of life. Tigers are also very good mothers. They are good at teaching their young how to hunt and be out in wilderness, be out in the wilds, so they can figure out how to live their lives by, I think it's like within like 6 to 8 weeks or so, the tiger cubs are already figuring out how to hunt and kill things and stuff, and the mothers are quite devoted, so that might be an energy for you in this card specifically, is that mothering, that very strong nurturing energy there. There's also a lot of like sensuality and passion, that's that strength kind of coming out with the tiger card here. So Tigers are nocturnal creatures, again connected to those that water element, so that's connecting to that moon. They are very representative spiritually for the moon, new moon, and full moon because of the coloring in their stripes. So you got those black and kind of those orange, so those dualities there within the tiger spirit itself. Tigers are really well known across many cultures, especially in our Asian cultures, Korea, China. Those cultures have lots of myths and legends surrounding the tiger. The Korean peninsulas supposedly looks like a tiger. Depending on some of the art depictions you see, you'll see that kind of symbolism there. So tigers are usually considered very strong, a little bit chaotic. Some of that energy is in there. And then there's a little bit of unpredictability as well. So a lot of very interesting energy for the tiger. This tiger specifically in this card, you see that crescent moon on the forehead, so we're getting that connection back to the moon and the water, and that sensuality and passion. There's a lot of silence and reflectiveness that comes out with the tiger, especially with that nighttime kind of element, that nocturnalness. So in terms of advice for the tiger card specifically here, it might be calling you to be like, okay, hey, take some quiet time at night, away from everything, really kind of sit silently, think through things, reflect on life, reflect on yourself. The tiger hunts very silently and slowly, so there's a lot of deliberateness, especially with that power behind it. So if you think of the tiger and that use of deliberate strength, so all that muscle and power and force that the tiger has, you look at it again, like I was saying, and there's just all muscle there, but it's used very deliberately, very specifically, and precisely. So some of that energy there might be relevant for your situation for this tiger card and the tiger spirit and tiger advice. So look at tiger and think about ways to nurture yourself, take care of yourself, diving into your sensuality or spirituality or passion. Really kind of focus at nighttime and try and take some of that quiet and reflectiveness there. Getting in water might be really good for you in this case. So getting in, going swimming at night potentially, taking a bath, connecting with that moon water energy as well. So that way you can really dive in, know your emotions, and again, that precision coming in, right? So there's a lot of deliberateness, so that's a deliberate knowing of who you are in that reflection piece. So it's like, okay, hey, looking inward, looking at yourself, knowing who you are, and knowing who you are means you can act with more deliberateness and decisiveness in any given situation, right? So tiger energy is really good to call for, like, hey, you're trying to focus on something, maybe your career, right? You're trying to figure out that next step in your career and how to move forward with it. So take that time silently at night, or you're just like, okay, let me think through, really know who I am, know what your goals are, know what you want. So a lot of good tiger energy in terms of that. And the tiger is, in terms of Western culture, right, it really stands out because we don't have anything in terms of environment or other creatures that look like this. So the coloring and the stripes are very distinct. So that is, again, that kind of, what's the right word for it? There's a lot of showiness almost with it, but it's a very quiet, showing off. It's like a confidence versus a cockiness, right? So it's like the tiger just looks how it looks, right? It's not trying to show off that it looks beautiful with all these stripes and colors and kind of like an art pattern, honestly, in its fur, but it just is seen. And in the right environment, it can blend in, but in terms of Western cultures, right, there's nowhere it blends in. So it's always it's always there and it's always being seen. So you having a tiger energy, depending on your culture and where you're at, it might be a little bit different. So that's kind of an interesting take in terms of this card specifically. So tiger energy, very strong, very passionate, really connected to that sacral chakra, that kind of orangey color, obviously. So think about that and think about ways to be deliberate and silent and kind of hunt quietly. And it's almost kind of a little, just it's not sneaky, but it's just under the radar. There's ways to fly under the radar and accomplish many great things in your life. So our tiger group number 1, I hope that resonates and makes sense to you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 2. Welcome. So you have the bat. So our bat energy, our bat spirit here, there's definitely a essence of the finer senses, the details, those subtleties in our senses. So our bats, obviously they are nocturnal animals. They do not usually are not active during the day at all, unless they're kind of in the caves. But you'll see them starting kind of around that twilight time as the sun's setting there. You'll see them starting to fly around. But the bat obviously uses echolocation and different senses in order to navigate its environment than we would normally have, that we have in ourselves. So bat energy, there's definitely a touch there for me for like intuition, those more subtle things that aren't generally seen. So especially with that at night, the bat sees really, really well at night. So it's seeing a lot of other things that our human eyes can't see. So that's an essence and energy there that you might have. You're taking notice of things other people aren't. You're paying attention to more subtle, deeper things and recognizing things and seeing things that other people might not be. With bat energy too, there is with the aspects of like the day and night there, right? So the bat's coming out at the end of the day, that twilight. So that's that like setting, things are calming down. It can be that death process. I tie the bat very heavily into the Hanged Man due to the animal spirit deck specifically here, and then the Wild Unknown. The Hanged Man is represented by the bat in the Wild Unknown tarot by Kim Krans. So the bat there, that process of death and rebirth there, that making choices in your life, being purposely deliberate for like, okay, hey, I'm choosing to be upside down. I'm choosing to see things from a different perspective here, seeing things in a new light, in a new way, right? That's that Hanged Man energy there. So the bat also is really interesting for that connection to, it has like a connection obviously very strong to air, but it hunts a lot over the water because of all the bugs and different things that's food source it can find above water a lot of the time. The image that's coming to my mind right now is during a camping trip when I was in California. We were seeing a bunch of bats start to fly over the lake all the time, and as they were catching bugs, and it was like right at that twilight hour. It was I was able to still see, they were able to see. It was that like perfect time of night right there where it's like, okay, hey, these two worlds connecting here. So very strong energy for that that in-between time, that and it's almost kind of that magic hour at the same time, right? Where it's like, okay, those spaces of in-between, those spaces between moments, you might be perceiving, this is kind of coming intuitively, you might be perceiving time a little bit differently than normal right now. Group number 2 with this bat energy here. So recognizing it's like, okay, hey, you're living in the in-between, where it's like, okay, that not day, not night, you're that in-between right there, that twilight, right? And it might not be, it's like, okay, it's not this part of the duality or this part or those equal and opposites. It's like just that like right in the middle, that right in between, neither or both at the same time. That energy of the bat is there as well. Bat energy in terms of like death and rebirth too, right? They are very representative of the death process. So a lot of the time bats live in caves, and cultures historically are very representative of that underworld and that connection to the underworld. So people, ancient cultures would see that cave and see that entrance into the underworld, that death process, that going in. A lot of ceremonies and rituals happen in caves, and bats are very representative of that energy because they're usually in that like mouth of the cave right there. I'm picking up another like memory in my brain for when I was at Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico, and that first kind of big entrance right there is where the bats all hang out, and you can hear them and they're talking and chirping, and then there's that process at night once the sun goes down, that ending of that cycle, right? That ending of the day, and they're coming out into the night. And bats, with that death process comes rebirth as well. So that rebirth process where it's like, okay, hey, that new dawn's always going to be coming. There's always new light at the end. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And picture kind of coming out of the cave, right? And you can see this little pinpoint of light, and it gets bigger and bigger as you're walking because you're getting to that entrance of the cave. And then you can hear the bats chirping and their wings flapping as you're getting closer and closer, representing that like, hey, you're coming out of this process. So wherever you're at in your life, group number 2, it feels like you're at the end of a cycle. You're at the end of a cycle and starting a new one here. So let that death process happen, let it finish out, and go into the new and fly out into the new day after all this darkness, right? So Humans are not meant to be in the dark like the bats are, but they are very good energy to have around when it's like, okay, hey, we're figuring out this next step in our lives. So group number 2, the bat energy, is fun and really just connected to that deeper spirit, that deeper understanding. We've got the moon obviously in this card specifically as well, so that nighttime, that reflectiveness, that energy there as well for our emotions and deeper senses, that deeper spirituality, that intuition there with those senses. So keep all that in mind as you're moving forward. Hopefully this advice made sense to you. Might just be the energy of the day, might be the energy for the week, month, or year, who knows. That's going to be up to you and your intuition, but hopefully that resonates with you and makes sense. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 3. Welcome. So this is my Panther group. So Panther energy, in terms of all the big cats, right? So all the big cats, very, very strong, some ferociousness there, lots of power. You look at them in those, the body, and it's like, okay, so much muscle there, all tightly wound, lots of ability and strength there. But for the Panther's a little bit more. The Panther's a little bit more ferocious, a little bit more in your face, a little bit more aggressive overall. Not a bad thing though, but the Panther is showing up for this reading specifically, and in terms of spirit advice, it's gonna kind of be in your face about things and kind of show you what's going on. So keep that in mind as we're kind of talking through with the Panther here. But Panther energy, again, with that aggression there, the Panther energy can be kind of destructive in a positive way or a negative way. It kind of depends. But when we get negative, destructive Panther energy, you end up being very, very self-destructive. There's a lot of pain there and a lot of like self-hurt going on, and then real strong ability to potentially hurt others, and that's not what we want for sure, right? Panther energy also is very intuitive and instinctual, so there's a lot of with it being tied to the nighttime and that more feminine energy, that again, that intuition, that instinct coming through, there is an ability and awareness there, kind of a clairvoyancy, kind of one of those clairs there, a clairsentience, where it's like, hey, here's people's weaknesses and here's people's painful spots, right? And just kind of instinctively knowing that, and then you add that self-destructive energy in with Panther and kind of a negative aspect, and then you're going for the jugular, and so you're mad at somebody, right? And you're saying really, really mean things and potentially hurting them more than you want, and not the energy we want for Panther. We want, as much as it's not fun, we want that more positive destructiveness that Panther can bring, and that's the universe kind of being done with your shit, honestly. The universe, where it's like, okay, hey, we've been hinting at this, or it's like, hey, you need to leave this job, you need to leave this relationship. So instead of you making the choice and moving forward, the universe does it for you and kind of destroys those things in your life, which is going to be beneficial in the long run and healthier, because it's the universe being like, hey, time to move on, time to heal, time to do this thing. But it hurts more because we're forced into the situation versus making it of our own volition. So think about that with Panther energy. Think about the way destructiveness can work positively in your life and move forward in a good way. Think about for Panther energy, where it's like, okay, hey, here's all this strength and power and ferocity I have and kind of aggression. The Panther, all those finely tuned muscles, right, and all this ability it has, and to accomplish multiple things in its life, find a way to channel that energy in a very positive way, kind of ordered chaos, or like guided chaos a little bit. So all that power and just that energy, guide it in the proper way, move it in the proper way, so that way it is a force for good rather than in negative aspects in your life. Panther energy also, along with all the big cats, right? Very, very strong hunters. Panther especially likes its solitude, so that might be kind of an energy in your life right now where it's like, okay, just kind of be on your own a little bit, be a little bit more quiet, reserved, be in your home space, focus on that in your life, those kind of more introverted aspects of yourself, and really getting in touch with those intuition and that emotion, right? That's that nighttime energy coming through, that darkness, that like dark feminine, dark mother kind of energy coming in with the Panther energy here. So that, what it kind of feels like, it's like the goddess Calypso came to mind. So think of that like destructive, powerful mother energy, or Moana with Tafiti, and that's that kind of power there, right? So you think of the volcano and that energy, and very, very destructive, but also brings new life at the same time, creates new islands and new places for things to grow and animals to live, and eventually people. So there's a rebirth process within the panther as well, very similar to our group number 1 with tiger. But a little different, where it's like, okay, the tiger has a little bit more solar energy to it, a little bit more active ego and focus on it, versus the panther is very much more that feminine, that nighttime, that quiet, that aspect of our duality. So panther energy, very interesting in that case. So keep in mind, just keep aware of your abilities and channeling it in the right way, especially with this forciveness and aggressiveness that the panther has. Make sure not to be destructive in the right way. Control your chaos, control the movement, control what you're destroying in a healthy way, hopefully. So that is all we have for this little bit of spirit advice, group number 3, our panther card here. Might just be the energy today, the week, the month, who knows, maybe the year. It's going to be up to you and your intuition. So keep that in mind. Keep in touch with your internal processes and your instincts and intuition. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye. Hello, group number 4. Welcome to your animal spirit advice little reading here. So it might have been a little hard to tell from the picture, but your energy is the oyster. So oyster energy, it's kind of a muted one, right? Where it's like, in terms of animal spirit energy, it's not a very obvious, grand, majestic kind of creature, right? It's not a lion or a wolf or bear or anything like that. So much more subdued energy for sure, a little under the radar. It's like, okay, hey, what does this advice, what's this advice, what's the energy this has to offer, right? I feel like for first glance. But oyster energy, obviously connected to the water, so we got a lot of that emotions and like that elemental energy there for oyster being connected to the water, living in the water, filtering water. So it's not some of these other types of species, right? Clams and oysters and different ones like that actually help cleanse the water that they're in, because they eat those little microbes in the water. So they are really good for that kind of aspect of things. And then you get that piece where it's like, okay, hey, the impurities that the oyster picks up turns it into something magical and something great here. So oyster, it's like, okay, hey, what's hidden in there? What is that's talking about those hidden treasures and that hidden ability, that hidden talent that's inside of us that we might not put out to the world or don't let the world see, right? So the oyster energy here, this oyster spirit advice is talking about, hey, what do you have to offer the world? What's your talent? What's your ability? What do you want to show off and give? Because you have this beautiful gem inside you, pearl. Have this beauty inside of you, but you're all kind of clammed up potentially, pun intended in this case, or it's like, okay, you're closed up into your shell, hiding it away, keeping it safe for sure. There's definitely an element of safety there, and protecting ourselves, protecting our vulnerabilities, and this might be a vulnerability to you. Sometimes our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. So that aspect's there, but also we want to take our weaknesses and develop them into strengths, or something where it's like, okay, hey, how can we develop further? How can we grow? How can we make ourselves stronger? And there is strength in showing that vulnerability. So what do you have in your life where it's like, okay, you're keeping really close to the chest, keeping it protected, keeping it secure because you're scared to show it off, because maybe you have a really great singing voice potentially, and you're like, okay, you don't want to audition for that talent show. You don't want to go and be the star in the musical, different things like that kind of energy, or you have the ability, you have the talent for it. So how can you develop it further? How can you make yourself feel confident and ready to show it off? Because it's very important to. We all come into this world with innate talents and abilities and things that we should offer the world, and what's going to give more beauty and life and joy and vitality to everyone around you. So people hear your, I'll keep with the singing reference here, people hear you sing and they're happy, and it makes them smile, it makes them feel good. You dive into creating songs with that, and you create these really powerful lyrics and sing it out, and that you really connect with people. And you would never have gotten to connect with people and touch people at a deep level in their hearts and their spirits if you didn't offer this gift you have to the world, taking this oyster energy and opening up that oyster, opening it up and showing everybody what's inside. So that's important energy here for you, group number 4, this oyster energy, where it's like, okay, hey, you've kept it protected, you've kept it growing, you made it bigger and better and stronger. Potentially you've been taking singing lessons for years and years and years, but you've never done anything with that talent you have, and you've developed this really amazing singing voice. You have all the skills, you know how to do all the right breathing and how to project and do all these pieces, but you haven't done anything yet to show it off. And now it's actually really time to show it off and put that energy out into the world, because it's going to give you a lot back. You offering this energy will bring all that good energy back to you. So then there's more and more opportunities and more abundance and more vitality and everything else. But also it's like it spreads it out. It's a ripple effect. So we come back to that water reference in this case, where it's like, okay, that pebble in the water, the oyster in the water, and ripples out and causes bigger and bigger waves and bigger impact by you just doing this one simple thing here. So think about that energy with oyster here. Oyster is definitely encouraging you to open up your shell and show off what you have hidden inside. Show off that hidden talent, that hidden pearl that we have, where it's like, okay, hey, this is important. This is what's sitting inside me. This is the thing I've been working on for a really, really long time. It's time to show it off, okay? So group number 4, this is all I have for you today. So hopefully this resonates with you. Hopefully it makes sense. It might just be the energy for today. It might be for the week, month, year. It's going to be up to you and your intuition. That's only something you can answer for yourself. But hopefully this made sense to you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye. Hello, group number 5, my favorite group. So you've got the wolf. Not the prettiest picture of a wolf, in my opinion. This artwork's a little funky, but the wolf is my favorite animal. So I could probably just talk on and on and on about the wolf, but I'll keep it short because that's the point of this little spirit advice video series. So the wolf energy. Wolf energy is very family oriented. There is a structure with a wolf pack where it's the two mating pair, the mating pair, and then so that's the male and the female and all their young, and then you have the older kids from like previous litters usually, and that's how the pack structure, when you see like 10-12 wolves or whatever, it's usually a big family unit, which is very interesting. Wolf energy in terms of spirit energy, it's a good like pathfinder kind of tracker energy, where it's like, okay, hey, you're finding your way through life, you're figuring it out. You're a trailblazer in a lot of ways too, because it's like, okay, you're finding your own path, that kind of like lone wolf aspect a little bit there. And wolf dynamics plays a lot into how the wolf interacts, right? That pack mentality, that pack vibe, where it's like, okay, hey, you're doing things for the good of the whole, but also making sure you're strong as well, because it's like, okay, a wolf doesn't have like like your alpha and omega, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, this is the weakest one in the pack, and you like kick them. No, that's not how that works, because a wolf pack is a full family. So you're taking care of your family, taking care of the young. Wolves are very nurturing creatures, teaching their young how to hunt and survive and take care of themselves. And they're also very resilient for wolves can travel a long distance over a very long period of time. So wolves, some of those lone wolves, those young males that are trying to find new territory to start up their own pack after they find a female to mate with, they can travel tens and tens of miles in a day to find new area and cover a lot of ground. So wolves are historically, like, okay, we used to cover the entire continent for the for North America and United States. So you had them through Canada into the United States down into Mexico, and they were wiped out, unfortunately. So, which is why they're on the endangered species list, and all that process was there, because the wolf is very similar to human nature at the same time. They're in a Native American thoughts and culture, the wolf and humans are very connected. So the way we treat wolves is very representative of how humans view themselves and how they interact with themselves. And unfortunately, that killing off of the wolves, killing off of ourselves and what's considered like an animal brother. So very represented in my culture and other Native American cultures for the impact of the wolf in the United States and how we interact with them. But wolves now are just kind of working their way. They're in Canada and Montana, and they're in Wyoming because they're in Yellowstone and those other areas. They're slowly working their way out again and expanding their territories because these wolf packs are growing, and then they're moving further and further away, and they can travel really, really long distances. Wolves are great hunters because they have to obviously hunt to survive, but that's cooperation is there again with that pack. So a full pack taking down animals much larger than themselves. So wolf energy is a energy of communication and partnership and working together in a group and being stronger for it. More minds, greater minds thinking similarly, and there's the phrase I want. Well, great minds think alike, but like more minds figuring out solutions to problems and coming up with better and bigger solutions because there are more people to think about the problem and work through it. So the wolf is showing up in this case, it feels like, because those who are watching are really trying to figure out how to work in the dynamic of a group and develop that and grow stronger for working together as a team versus just individually. So especially for wolves in the harsh environments that they can live in, sometimes it's better to be part of a pack. It's better to be part of a group because that leads to better survival. And especially with those family dynamics coming in too, where it's like, okay, hey, you don't want somebody in your family to suffer. You don't want somebody to fall onto hard times because the family's taking care of itself. So wolf energy too is very strong for connecting to nature and connecting to nighttime. Obviously, wolves howl to the moon at night, but it's more so for communication. That howl travels across long distances, and that's how they communicate with their pack across a different area in terms of hunting and protecting their environment and their home. So wolf energy, I love it. It's there's still playfulness there because they are dogs came from wolves and just got domesticated over a long period of time. There's still that playfulness there, that instinct, that really good sense of smell. So wolf energy is very playful, but very focused and strong one at the same time, with a lot of heavy emphasis on family dynamic and group dynamic, because it is that part of the pack, part of a group. So whatever group you're interacting with, try and figure out a way to work together and communicate properly, because it's going to go a long way to long-term success. Okay, so that's all I have for you. Group number 5, my favorite animal, the wolf. Hopefully this resonates with you and makes sense. Might just be the energy for today, the week, the month, or maybe the year. It's up to you and your intuition. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 6. So hopefully I didn't get too freaked out by the picture for your group here. I didn't have fun trying to find pictures for this group. They were kind of creepy to look at, but my tarantula group. So tarantula's an interesting energy here. It's a fire element in this deck specifically with the animal spirit deck. And of course with spiders we've got that weaving a web, weaving of life. Spiders in some cultures are that big creation energy because they again weave that web, weave life, and I can't remember which one it is. Might be mine actually, but it talks about grandmother's spider and the like threads of life, threads of fate almost. So we get that tying in with these other bigger aspects. So if you think about like the thread of fate, thread of destiny, so you get like some of that Greek kind of tie in there. But spiders, of course, we create this web, and We have the tarantula and the spider, which are a little different in this deck specifically. Tarantula is does make thread, does make webbing, but it doesn't create a web. The way the tarantula hunts is a little bit different. It makes its own burrows and actually is more of a kind of like trap animal, trap insect versus waiting for something to come into the web. So it's under the ground usually in its little burrows, and it's feeling for that vibration of the ground, and then it'll hop out of the burrow and capture whatever is in front of it and bring that back in, and then that's how it hunts for its food. So tarantula energy is a little bit different than normal spider energy in this case. Tarantulas are a little bit more calm in terms of spiders, and while their bite is venomous, it's very minor for humans by comparison because of the amount of venom being injected and how it works in the system. So it feels very similar to just like a bee sting or other insects bite. So not really too dangerous in to humans, unlike other spiders. Tarantulas, very big, can be really, really big sometimes, and they're very, have all that hair and other, the way they sense the world's different. So holding a tarantula, I don't know if anybody has, I think I had the opportunity once when I was young at a little zoo, insect zoo that they have nearby here. And the tarantula, they're very strong but delicate at the same time. So when I was doing a little bit more research into your group here, group number 6, the spider, the tarantula specifically, is delicate because it's like if you drop it, it's gonna potentially die because of that fall there. Versus like dropping a regular spider, it's gonna get that web going and catch itself a little bit more. So it's a little bit more durable, but there's a fine line there. The spider is a very interesting creature for the fact that it can walk these very fine lines, walk this web that it has. So it's very deliberate and focused, and there is a lot of precision with this energy, which is very interesting for tarantula. So a fire element with precision, very interesting aspects there, kind of a little bit countering almost. So with tarantula too, there is focus on that creation of your own life, of course, that weaving of the web, creating your own destiny, creating your own fate, creating your own life. And with tarantula energy more specifically, it's focusing on walking that kind of narrow path sometimes, that like that in-between state. So it's like that walking that, again, that fine line. So it's like that path between like life and death, the opposites there. So it's like that dark and light, that heat and cold, those kind of dualities, and then walking that fine line in between there. So spider energy here, and in terms of advice, you're probably very sensitive. There's a lot of sensitivity here, picking up energies and feelings from your surroundings and your background, because you're super sensitive to everything in terms of like your body just as a whole, right? So it's like this, your skin, your hair, your eyesight, everything's a little bit more sensitive for you, for this tarantula group specifically. So use that. Don't let it overwhelm you, but use that in a very powerful way, and use that to figure out where that line is in your life. So there's probably a little bit of opposing energies in your life right now, and use this tarantula energy. This is the spirit advice coming through. Use that tarantula energy to find that fine line to navigate through everything, okay? It's going to benefit you a lot to be able to do this. Take the skill you have, take this overabundance of feeling and intuition you have, and use it to navigate the situation you're in, okay? So use it to be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. It's very minor, it's very hard, it's very subtle to feel, but you're feeling it and it makes sense in you. Use that intuition, tune in with that, and then walk that path. Once you figured it out, figure out what makes the most sense, what feels right, even down to the very minor degree, go with that, okay? That's what makes sense, that feels right, and that's what I'm picking up for you, okay, group number 6. So that's our tarantula energy today. It might just be the energy for the day, might be for the week, month, year, who knows? That's going to be up to you and your intuition, but hopefully that resonates with you and makes sense. And that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 7. Welcome to your reading. So you have the lizard. So lizard energy, lizard is very, very sensitive to its environment. There is a refined sensibility there, refined feeling and perception that it takes in for temperature and light and vibration and all these other pieces. So there's lots of sensitivity there. So you might be somebody who can very easily get over stimulated by their environment potentially. Lots of crowds, lots of people, lots of lights. There's certain places where it's just like, okay, there's a lot of stimulation going on because you're just picking up all this information from the entire entire environment, right? Every little sound, every little smell and flash of light and the vibrations coming through your feet. So there might be certain environments that are difficult for you to be in potentially unless you have a lot of preparation. With this extra sensitivity though comes a lot of power and a lot of knowledge for you though, group number 7, where it's like, okay, hey, you feel what's going on and the very, very, very minor differences. And that even comes in like in terms of extrasensory perception as well for picking up changes in people's like emotions or micro expressions and feeling that difference where it's like, okay, hey, all of a sudden you're like, wait, are you okay? What's wrong? Because you all of a sudden you just felt a little bit of a shift in their energy, and you're like, okay, hey, what happened? What's going on? They're talking a little different, or they are the way they are smiling looks a little different now. So you have a really strong gift in terms of that for you, group number 7, where it's like, okay, hey, you're picking up things that not a lot of people pick up on. It's very, very rare. And that skill set is very powerful because it's going to give you lots of advantages in lots of situations. But at the same time, with your brain processing so much more and you picking up all this other information, that's when that overstimulation can come in, right? It's also very tiring. I have a little bit of experience in this myself where it's like, okay, hey, when you're picking up all this other emotions and feeling and people being around you, and you're just like, hey, they're I always joke with my friends because it's like, I don't mind getting hugs from random strangers or other people, right? Because as soon as they're like within like a few like like six or a foot within a foot of me, that I'm already feeling their energy. So them touching me is really not that much more of a difference for me at that point because they're already in my field. I can already feel what's going on around me with them. So it does get very, very tiring at the same time. So this card for me is talking about really taking care of yourself too, because you have these abilities and this way of processing things and seeing the world. There's a little bit more you need to do in order to make sure you stay sane and to make sure that you stay healthy and fit in mind and body both, because it takes a toll on the body feeling all these different things, right? And especially being aware of all these different things, and then that mental processing that takes place. So emotionally also, because you might be picking up things that aren't your own. So being very, very aware of yourself and what is yours and what's not, because when you don't want to take on other people's emotions and feelings, because that's just going to be more exhausting. And then you feel that in yourself and then becomes yours, and it's just this whole mess. So don't do that. But with lizard energy here, make sure to really keep going within, take that time to yourself, and so that you can like recharge and reset and figure out just who you are again. So like clear it out where it's like, okay, hey, you went to a concert because it was your favorite band and you're really, really excited to see them. But the next weekend you're like, okay, let me go hiking by myself. So that way you can kind of reset and recalibrate yourself and change up those dynamics and that interaction with your physical reality, your world. So that way you can just be like, okay, back to square one. You are calm and situated and not getting overstimulated again. And just there's a lot of self-care that comes with this process where it's like, okay, hey, you're taking these things. This is that kind of advice coming out where Lizard's like, okay, hey, pull back, listen to yourself, pay attention to yourself and what's going on, and don't let the world overtake you. Make sure that you are strong in yourself and your artistic expression, your talent, your own vitality, your own interests. Make sure that those are staying strong and are going outwards versus you taking everything in from the world, okay? That's very important here for this lizard energy. So lots of self-care for you, okay, group number 7, where it's like, okay, hey, make sure you just take that time to yourself you need, make sure that you know you and you know what's going on with you are, so that way you can recognize when other things are coming into your sphere, into your energy, and you don't let it interfere with you, okay? You're always going to be able to pick up more and perceive more than others, but don't let it tire you out at the same time, okay? So For you, group number 7, that's all I have for you today. It might just be the energy of today, might be the energy for the week, month, or year. Who knows? That's up to you and your intuition. You're probably going to be able to figure that out pretty easily because you have all that extra sensory knowledge behind you. So figure it out whatever's best for you. Pick another animal in this reading if you need to, or the previous video in this series. This is chapter 2, and then we had chapter 1. There'll probably be about 5 chapters. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 8, and welcome to your reading. So you have the rabbit. Rabbit energy at first glance is usually that kind of like fearful prey energy, right? They're one of the biggest prey animals in terms mice and rabbits, top of that prey line for sure. And with that energy, there definitely comes like a lot of fear, a lot of worrying, a lot of it's very like shaky, nervous energy, right, with rabbit. But rabbit energy at the same time, though, is also has unique abilities and unique adaptations that come from being that prey species, from being that prey animal. And with rabbits specifically, they have lots of different ways to adapt to their environments and take care of themselves and their young so that they can keep continuing on as a species. So obviously with rabbits, there's a lot of vitality and sexuality and creation energy there because they have to procreate very, very fast and rapidly because they are that prey species. So they mitigate this as an entire species by having lots of young and very, very rapidly. They can have lots of litters, or I'm not sure what the proper term is for a bunch of the baby rabbits, but they can have a lot of births throughout the year, and many per birth as well. So lots of creation energy there for sure, for fertility. So something to keep in mind that might be relevant in your life personally right now, where you have a lot of birth and creation going on in your life in terms of new projects or a new relationship or actual literal birth potentially. That's up to you and how that resonates with you. But rapid energy also focuses on ways to interact with their environment in a safe manner. So they have these very strategic ways to make sure that they stay safe, right? Where it's either that like quick flight or complete freeze. So we have a bunch of rabbits at my house here that live around in the neighborhood, and you'll be walking past sometimes and you won't even know that they're there until they dart off because they're completely frozen, not moving at all, so very, very still and barely even breathing. And then all of a sudden you get close enough and then they're just off like a shot, right? And you're just like, oh, what was that? Because you just didn't see them at all, and they've developed this as a technique in order to keep themselves safe. So the energy that brings in terms of spirit advice and how it might be applicable to your life is there might be opportunities in your life for you to just like completely pause and freeze in the moment and really figure it out. And then that opportunity might come in really, really rapidly, and you have to like quickly jump into it because that's how fast that can move and how fast those opportunities can disappear. So that rabbit energy might be encouraging you. It's like, okay, hey, go right now. Also, if rabbit is a very common element for you, a common animal spirit potentially, your life might work a little bit differently than others. It might not be as fluid. It might come through and change very, very rapidly, or have points of absolute stillness. So it's like, okay, you're jumping, you think of a rabbit and all those like leaps and hops that they do, and that might be how that energy looks in your life, where it's like, okay, you're no movement, everything's still for a second, and then you have rapid jumps ahead, and it's quick movement, and you're going here or there, and then all of a sudden it stops again, right? So the way your life structure might look, or the way life might pertain to you, is a little bit different than others because of this rabbit energy here. But at the same time, it's that way because it keeps you safe, right? It keeps you from getting eaten in terms of the rabbit, where it's like being that prey species and living in that fear all the time. So keep that in mind with rabbit, where it's like, okay, hey, they're definitely trying to keep themselves safe, but at the same time, that energy can go a little bit too far into the negative, where it's a constantly fearful, constantly that like nervous, flighty energy, and we don't want that in our lives because that leads to a lot of anxiousness and fear. And when we are living our lives out of fear, then we're like, okay, hey, you don't make decisions in the way you want to. You want more proper rabbit energy where it's like, okay, hey, here's that creation. Here is that looking at life in a unique way and bouncing from this thing to the other because that's what makes the most sense at the time, and taking advantages of those opportunities because you can hop on it a lot faster than others can, kind of pun intended there, where it's like, okay, hey, you notice something and you can go at it right away because there's that sensitivity there as well, with that anxious, nervous energy of kind of that fearful energy of always being on guard because you could be prey at any point. There also is a lot of awareness for your environment and what's going on around you. So that balances out where you're like, you have a great sense of perception and a great lay of the lands for career or relationship or different things, because you're like, you have thought ahead and can know all these different things that might happen. So when a good opportunity does present itself, and you're able to go at it very, very fast and very quickly because you have this rabbit energy behind you. So keep that all in mind, group number 8. It's very important energy to have sometimes, and you have a unique ability that others do not, to change your situation very, very rapidly. So hopefully that resonates with you. Hopefully that makes sense. This might just be the energy for today, or maybe for a week, year, month, who knows? That's up to you and your intuition. Feel free to choose another animal in this video if you feel called to do so, or from the previous video, chapter 1. There's going to be plenty of animals to pick from in the series as a whole. So hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm wishing it for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 9. Welcome to your animal spirit advice little video here. So you are my elk group. Elk is a very, in terms of this deck, with the animal spirit deck, it's an earth energy and it's a very stable energy. Elk is that stable consistency, that the foundation, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, it's figured out, it's strong, it's stable, it is controlled, it is measured, it's gonna hold. And it's a very masculine kind of fathering energy here for you, group number 9, with this elk energy. So you yourself might be that kind of fathering energy. You might be providing that kind of mentorship, fathering energy to others in your life, providing that stability and foundation for everyone to help them grow and help them build themselves their own steady foundation. Or in terms of elk, it's like, okay, hey, that might be the energy you're trying to receive into your life, right? Where it's like, okay, trying to get some of that elk energy into your life, where it's like, okay, taking a look at your life and be like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to create stability in terms of maybe financial stability, a stable home life, a stable relationship, stable career, all those different aspects there, right? Where it's like, some people just need schedules and consistency, and others like to live a little bit more moment to moment, a little bit more flighty, a little bit more like going with the wind, right? And it just kind of depends on you and your energy and your personality for what works best for you. But there's always going to be a balance there. So it's like, okay, hey, me personally, like I might not like living by a schedule, and I might like to just be able to do anything at any given time, but you also just need some of those consistencies there, because that's what keeps your mind sharp. And also it's like, okay, it's important because it's what helps you to build better things and to improve and change things in your life, right? You have to have something that is sturdy in order to build and change around it potentially. And knowing when to change things up completely, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, you built this sturdy foundation and now it's time to go somewhere else and build another sturdy foundation for others or yourself. Potentially it's going to be up to you and kind of what the situation in your life is. Elk also is... When I think of elk, I do think of some power there, though. There's a lot of kind of mental strength there. I think that shows up in like the antlers of the animal specifically, where it's like, okay, hey, there's a lot. You can almost see the thinking process happening because it's showing up very externally on the head of the animal itself, in the elk. And while the animals are a prey species, that they do get hunted by other animals, they are very strong in and of themselves. It's like, I wouldn't want to run into an elk on my own out in the forest. It's going to potentially hurt me more than I would hurt it. And so there is some power there behind this animal as well. With them, they travel in those herds and quite big herds actually too. And they have their seasons they go through, and that they you see them like in a lot of different places and just kind of doing their own thing. And they have a lot of strength in their numbers in terms of that herd. So that might be some of the energy that's there as well, where it's like you're stronger together, you're stronger in a group than you are by yourself right now. You're stronger with your friends, with your family, especially family in this case. You're stronger as a whole within your family dynamic, within your family group, than you are just on your own, because that does offer you more stability, right? So having the opportunity to work with a sibling potentially, or work with a parent on something in terms of like career, or you're just like changing up the family dynamic and working together with your family, that's going to create more stability for everybody, and not just for yourself in this case. But you do have that fathering energy coming through with the Elk card, and being like, okay, hey, this is how we're going to make things stable. This is how we're going to make it firm. We get that solid foundation in for ourselves and our family and everybody else around us as a whole, and maybe your friends as well, who knows. But Elk energy there is just like, hey, this is what we're doing. It's that very steady, that flow, that consistency. It's a little bit of like Taurus kind of energy there, with that just like, okay, single-minded focus forward, or it's like, okay, here we go. This is what we're doing. We're moving forward in this direction because this is what makes the most sense. This is what's going to bring the most security for everyone. And security is a big aspect for this card, is kind of the feeling I'm getting, where it's like, okay, hey, cool. Everybody's safe. Everybody's taken care of. Everybody is stronger together, and everybody is stable. And not a bad energy to have in this crazy world for sure, group number 9. So hopefully that resonates with you. Hopefully that makes sense. The Elk energy is, I don't know, I need a little bit of it for sure. I need a little bit more stableness and consistency in my life. But for you, it just feels like, okay, this is going to really change your life around, is to get a couple things really solid and stable in your life. So hopefully that resonates with you. Hopefully that makes sense. That is all I have for you today, group number 9. Just might be the energy for the day, maybe the week, month, or year. Who knows? That's up to you and your intuition. So feel free to pick another animal in this reading potentially, or in the previous video, or in future chapters to come. But hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 10. Welcome to your little spirit advice animal reading. So you are the Starfish group. Starfish is an interesting energy. It reminds me of the star card in the regular tarot. So there's definitely an aspect there for the descriptions within the animal spirit book, and different energies, the star energy for the tarot, where it's the thought of dreams and our bigger goals in life, and like what we want to do with ourselves, that higher like kind of spiritual aspect for it. But with Starfish specifically, it's the view of like how we are perceived. So Starfish energy here, and its kind of advice is, it's asking you to take a look at how you're being perceived, right? Starfish are very beautiful creatures to look at, because they are very visually appealing. They are very interesting creatures. So you have that aspect about yourself where people like to pay attention to you and see you. But where this energy kind of comes in is asking you to really just take a look at that and notice how you're being perceived, and with that, how you are responding and how you're reacting to it, because it's very important that you are still being true to yourself during this whole process, where it's like, okay, hey, you are being perceived a certain way, you're being perceived as very smart potentially for some reason, and that's all people see about you, but you have all these other aspects to yourself where it's like, okay, yeah, you're real book smart, you get the good grades potentially, but you're also very creative and you have like a really great ability to draw or something like that. And you don't want to get stuck in like one box. You don't want to get boxed in by society and their perceptions of you. And also there is also like a flashiness that comes with the starfish specifically, and with that, we want to make sure that we are being perceived in a way. You want to be true to yourself during that thing. So during that whole process. So it's like, okay, hey, some people are going to see you as cocky no matter what you do, but you just need to come off actually as, you need to be confident, and you need to know yourself and what you're doing, and not be showing off in this case. It's kind of a weird energy to talk about, honestly, where it's like, okay, hey, this doesn't make sense for this, but it makes sense for that. Starfish energy, when I think of a starfish, it's like, okay, hey, they're they're all look very different and very unique. They can show up all over the world in various places along the different beaches. But they're kind of fragile at the same time. So it's, again, that perception, right? Of that perception, our ego is also fragile. And it's like when your ego gets bruised, then the way you respond is going to be potentially hurtful to others, or it can cause you to react in a way that is not helpful to you and healing to you. So keep that in mind with starfish energy here present in your life. That advice kind of coming through is like, hey, make sure you just stay true to yourself. You're being observed and perceived in many, many different ways, and make sure you don't take those to heart. Make sure you know who you are down at the core, and that should be the only thing that matters, not what other people think of you. So really, like, don't fall to that pressure in your society, school, work, whatever place it's in, where it's like, hey, this is how people are perceiving you, and then therefore you're going to act that way. Don't do that, where it's like, okay, hey, this people see me as the mean person, and so therefore I'm just going to be mean. No, you don't have to do that. It's more important for you to be authentic and true to yourself and true to your dreams and visions, and what you might have potentially set aside, what you might have put on the back burner because of however others are perceiving you and how you're interacting with everybody else. So just take a look at your life, really get that perspective and awareness back to yourself, and see what is you and what is the you that others have created. If that makes sense. It's a little bit of a hard distinction sometimes, but it's like, okay, there's the you that you think you are, and then there's the you that other people think you are. And honestly, the one that other people think you are doesn't matter at all. It matters not even in the slightest bit if you don't want it to. So your loved ones, the opinions of your loved ones in your life should have a little bit of resonance and a little bit of effect on you. But ultimately, the only person that matters, the only opinion that matters on you and your actions is your own. So as long as you're not hurting anybody else and not hurting others and yourself in the process, the only opinion that really matters is your own, and taking care of yourself and doing what's best for you and doing what's best in how you are perceiving yourself and being authentic to yourself. Okay. So hopefully that resonates. Hopefully that makes sense. Starfish is a little weird energy to kind of, figure out here for you, group number 10. So hopefully I kind of got to it. Hopefully it makes sense for you. Leave me some questions down below if you need further clarification. I'll be more than happy to do so. But this just might be the energy for the day, maybe the week, month, year. I don't know. It's going to be up to you and your intuition and what you're kind of perceiving there. So feel free to pick another animal in this video or the previous chapter. Chapter 1, there'll be more chapters coming out in this series, so there'll be plenty of animals to pick from. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 11, my nightingale group. You might not have known what the bird is by just seeing your group screen, but it's the nightingale, a very unassuming bird at first glance. Very, very plain looking, not a lot to it, very muted down, and just looking at the nightingale from just a first glance, you just wouldn't think much of it. You think it's a common bird, not much special about it, right? But nightingale is the most beautiful singer out of all the birds. So not flashy in terms of color and the plumage it might have, but in terms of singing and voice and connection, one of the strongest, and really, really special in that case as well, because that song is what connects everything, connects everybody together. So you hear a nightingale sing, and that it's a beautiful melody, and you really connect with the bird in terms of music. Music is a very, very important aspect to human culture, I'd say. Across the entire planet, we all have different kinds of music, and it's just something that humans always do. There's something really, really special about music and connecting through music, and the way music tells stories, the way it makes us feel, the way it interacts with us. So the nightingale in this case is that energy there is really talking about that connection to music, that connection to your voice, and speaking in a type of connection and communication there. So It might be something pretty literal for you in this case, group number 11, where it's like, okay, hey, what do you have to say? What do you have to communicate? What do you have to sing about? What is true to you and what is true to your self-expression, and that you need to say aloud and get outside of yourself. And it may be literally through music. So you might be a singer, you might play some type of instrument, compose different things like that. There's many different ways to interact and connect through music. You might write lyrics potentially. So think about those aspects first when you're kind of thinking about the nightingale and connecting with this nightingale energy here. But also, figure out a way, group number 11, to keep expressing yourself, and the way to do it might be through music in this case. So find a new playlist, potentially explore some different music streaming platforms or apps, Spotify or 8 Tracks or something like that, and maybe you're trying to figure out what you're feeling inside. It might be a little bit hard to decipher, and a good way to figure that out just through music, because there is something about it that connects us much, much deeper, that affects you at a much deeper level, right? So if you dig through and find that old song that it's been stuck in your head, potentially you might have a different understanding of it now. You might have a different perception of it now, potentially. Or it's like, okay, hey, you put in, say, the closest you're feeling is like maybe melancholy or something, and you put that word into one of those apps, and you get other playlists of people who've made music or gathered music that's similar to that, and you do find that like one song finally that like really gets down and expresses what you're actually feeling inside, and then you have better understanding of it yourself. So with the nightingale here, we're really trying to figure out and build awareness in ourselves and our voice and what we need to say and what we're actually feeling. I think music really deals a lot with feeling, and that almost at a deeper spiritual level, that intense amount of energy and awareness and feeling, and like, hey, what's going on? Music very much is that human experience, and there's many different ways to interact with music. Maybe you need to explore music of a different culture, potentially a different language. Music transcends lots of language barriers, actually. So just start figuring out, start seeing how you feel, start seeing ways to do it. If you need to express yourself, figure out a way to do that. Might be through music and finding that new music. It might be writing down lyrics if you never did it, maybe writing poetry. Journal if you have to. Journal's great. Journaling is very, very great for self-awareness and building that, and really figuring yourself out. So group number 11, take the time here to, the advice kind of coming through is take the time here to really listen to yourself and that internal music inside yourself, inside your heart, inside your mind, your spirit, and what it's saying to you, what feelings it provokes, what it's bringing out into you, because that's going to help you build awareness for yourself and other aspects of your life, figure out what's going on with you so you can better have a chance to heal, grow, learn new things about yourself, okay? So, and it's a very unassuming thing, right? Or it's like something as simple as a song, a 3-minute long song. Maybe it's been around for decades, potentially. It's something from the 1800s, or maybe it's one that was released a month ago or something, and that really connects to you and gets down to your soul. Could be anything. Music's very interesting that way, and connects us all at a very, very deep instinctual human level, I feel. So figure out what that is for you, and figure out a way to express it if you need to, and figure out more of yourself and your emotions and your energy through that, and communicate that and connect, okay? So group number 11, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully it resonates. Hopefully it makes sense. Let me know down below if that connects with you, what song you're listening to today, what ended up bringing you out of that funk potentially, or what helped you connect better, or what was bringing you joy, okay? I'd like to hear about that. So hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 12, my final group and my turtle group. So turtle energy, when I think of the turtle, the first thing that usually comes to my mind is the lion turtle from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But with that, it shows a lot of depth of knowledge that the turtle has. The knowledge and power that The turtle represents, it's a very worldly knowledge. The turtle in lots of cultures represents, does represent the world. So you think of the lion turtle in this case from Avatar, but the turtle carrying the world on its back. So lots of knowledge and power in the turtle as an animal for spirit advice. And with the turtle, there's a lot of slow moving energy. And with that, especially comes longevity. Turtles can live a very, very long time, which is kind of interesting. Some of the turtles live like over 100, 200 years, which I think is kind of crazy when you think about it, especially for kind of reptilian animals like this. So turtle is a little bit different from like the tortoise, because tortoise lives solely on land. The turtle lives both in the land and in the water. It spends most of its life in the water, but it does interact with the land. It has to lay its eggs on the shore in order for the babies to develop, and eventually they have to make their way into the water. And there's so many different kinds of turtles across the whole world. So also eternal energy, really take a look at like your home life and the stability of that, and you having home within yourself, you being content and strong and stable within yourself, because the turtle carries its home on its back, right? It's always protected, it's always taken care of, because it has that shell on its back constantly, and that is part of it. It is part of its system. It is not, a turtle cannot leave its shell because it's attached to it. That is its ribs, and it's part of its bones and its structure there. So turtle, when I think of turtle, I think about that home life, think about that longevity and that knowledge there, and a lot more to it. There's a lot of wisdom that comes with turtle energy. So you yourself might be a very, very wise person. You might be a little bit more slow moving and observant of your world, and kind of taking your time and just really using that wisdom for your benefit and everybody else's benefit too. Where it's like, okay, hey, this is what's going on in life. This is what makes sense. This is the path I'm choosing. This is the path I'm going to go on. So turtle, in terms of connecting with that water energy, right? That's connecting to those emotions, and with it also be interacting with the land. So that's that earthly energy, right? So you got the combination of the earth and the water there. So our mental, like our emotional intuition, being grounded in that physical reality, into that earth energy, that stability, that foundation. So having really stable emotions, a really stable emotional state, really able to think like logically and thought out and planned, and moving both with stability but also with flow at the same time, if that makes sense. Where it's like, okay, hey, this is the movement I'm going through and changing, but I have a clear path and distinction for how I'm moving forward. So turtle advice here, it feels like it's like, okay, don't be afraid to just slow down and really kind of think things through. Don't be afraid to take your time on things. While there is a finite amount of time that we have in our human lifespan, it's interesting how time changes and differs, because time can look really differently depending on what's going on around you. So a year feels like it goes by really fast sometimes, and then sometimes it feels like it goes by really slow, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels like time's kind of funky sometimes right now, especially as you're getting older, and especially with everything else going on in the world. So time feels like it moves very, very differently, and that's something that Turtle probably wants you to be aware of too, is the advice kind of coming through right now. So take the time and really think through things, be wise in your decisions, really think about how it affects everything else around you, right? Because you have your home on your back in this case. Your home is in you and surrounding you all the time. And then also further than that, with the big, more spiritual turtle energy, that turtle sometimes carries the whole world on its back. So a lot of wisdom is needed in order to take care of that and to make the right choices that is best for everybody. But turtle has all the wisdom to do so. So I'm not too worried about that. And for you, group number 12 here, there's not much to worry, because you do have the wisdom to make all the right decisions, okay? So keep that in mind with turtle energy. That's kind of that advice coming through. It's like you have the wisdom behind you to make the right choices that you need to, and it's going to benefit you because you're always thinking about your home. You're always thinking about the world and everybody that you care about, your loved ones. And you're always connected to your emotions. You're always connected and keeping that grounded and really rooted down. So you're both the go with the flow, rooted and stable person at the same time. So a little bit contradictory, it seems like, but it makes perfect sense also. So Group number 12, my last group, hopefully that resonates with you. Hopefully that makes sense. This might just be the energy of today or the week, the month, maybe the year, who knows. That's up to you and your intuition and what makes the most sense for you. So you're tuned in with that, so I'm not too worried about that either. Feel free to pick another animal in this reading specifically if you feel called to do so. There's a chapter 1 you can also look at and more chapters coming down the line for the series. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Have a good one. Bye.